Hello and welcome everyone to our Saturday stream. I'm Josh and this is our map and image creation in Fantasy Grounds Unity. Here we go over all of the art-related news that's going on with Fantasy Grounds Unity, as well as we create our own maps using all of the official art packs that we have released with Smiteworks here. And that is included in all of the art subscription as well, so you can either buy those art packs or use the subscription, which is $5 a month or $50 a year. I think so far we've released nearly 40 art packs. So this month we'll be releasing 2 art packs to go with the Spelljammer release, which should be coming right up, which is pretty exciting. So we're going to have like 2 new art packs for creating fantastic space scenes, as well as all of the classic kind of Spelljammer-esque ships that you might want to create. That should be super fun. And then once those are released, we're going to jump in and demonstrate all of those. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that's coming out, as well as the recently released, we did last month, medieval buildings and a castle art pack, which is great. And we'll be using those in the future as well. We've already demonstrated some of that stuff on stream. And I think that's pretty much it for the news. Carl is back and working on some fixes for us, as well as a bunch of new features that will be coming out. So that's really exciting as well. And as that kind of progresses, I'll try to keep everybody informed as much as I can on that front. But in the meantime, we have been starting and working on some new maps here. Let's see, last week we finished up an let's see, we finished up one that we were working on, which was one with the medieval buildings. Let's see, I'm gonna have to keep better notes of this so that we can kind of do this. But I believe it's the cliffs and buildings one that we did. We finished this one up last time, which is very, very cool. Lots of cool stuff going on here. And this is all done with a couple of different art packs, but primarily all the buildings are from the new medieval buildings pack. Fun. You can create some pretty interesting structures, as well as these kind of conglomerates of buildings very, very quickly. So that's something that could be super useful in the creating of things. And then we started creating this one, which is what we're going to be finishing up today, this kind of mining facility on an asteroid. And we're going to go through and make a whole bunch of different kind of cool stuff. Kind of make this into like a horror-esque environment, which I think will be rather interesting. And we're going to do a couple of different floors, and we'll do some kind of cool, interesting stuff. I want to do some of this rock kind of coming through here, and we can do some mining elements as there. One of the things that we can kind of do here, we can see we have a couple of different layers here for this. But what we'll do is we're gonna duplicate these, and then we can create a lower floor, which will be like where some of that rock kind of stuff. I think we'll do like living quarters up here and some basic kind of facilities, and then kind of dive down and do lots of cool stuff throughout the facility itself, making it an interesting environment. And we'll probably work on this for the remainder of the day here. We're going to get in and do a lot of little detail things. I'm going to make it seem as we want to create as much of ambiance as we possibly can in the environment. So we'll do all the lighting and all of the effects layers and all of that stuff today as well. Thinking we could do some really cool stuff with some emergency lights and creating that kind of feeling. We can do some like those blinking kind of atmospheric, as well as probably some ambient lighting that can kind of go through and do some stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump in and we're going to actually, I think what we'll do is we'll duplicate these layers. Well, we can actually let's create a new painting layer here. We'll put all this stuff into one folder here eventually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just maybe what we'll do is do a separate kind of interior wall for this. And we're going to jump into our assets over here. Let's move this over. Kind of set up our workspace here a little bit. I hope everyone's having a wonderful week. And again, thank you everyone for joining me here today. Really appreciate it. I always look forward to these streams. I find it super fun. And we're going to go through, and I've had a couple of questions about some of the effects layers, so I'm going to spend a little extra time talking about them today as well, once we get into doing our shadows, whatever else that we might be doing with those. But I'm going to jump into the Sci-Fi Interior. And we'll go into our brushes here. And I might grab something else, just like a plain kind of one. I'm going to change the color of it a bit, though. I want it to seem a little bit more industrial. So we have some nice walls here that are pretty straightforward. We might want to use something that's got a little bit more of a structured kind of element like this. I like these kind of things, and you can always build these up. Maybe we'll use something like this. Things that have a little bit of extra kind of flair to them. So what we'll do is let's try this one, and we'll make this a little bit smaller here. Maybe some lines. I'm going to change the color here, and I'm going to grab my color picker, and I'm going to try and let's grab one of these colors out here, maybe something a little bit lighter. Maybe something like this. I think that'll work really well. Kind of maintain this kind of color scheme throughout. And it's always a good idea to kind of do that. As you progress through the creation process, one of the things that you want to do is kind of unify the feeling throughout all of your map stuff. And through the use of color, contrast, and all of those, you can really kind of make the area feel as though that it is one conglomerate rather than lots of different pieces kind of hodgepodge together. And so you always want to make it feel as though that there is a common thread between them. So the first thing that we're going to do is kind of figure out where we're going to be kind of placing these things. We have this kind of industrial kind of feel here, which is great, and I kind of like the way that we have this like this. Well, I guess it's kind of like this grate on the floor, and then this more solid kind of bit that is above it. So we have these like multiple layers of different kind of elements. So I think what we'll do right in the centerpiece is we're going to create some sort of machinery, and this will maybe be its power source or something along those lines. And we're going to do like a dock down through here, but we'll probably do that on the second floor, the one that's going to be beneath this one. I think what we'll do is we're going to create, we want to do, I was thinking maybe we'll do like some living quarters through here. Maybe we'll create like a control room here, and then obviously have some kind of other elements there. So what I'm actually going to do is we're going to come in here, and with this new system, we'll be able to kind of come in and readjust some of these walls after the fact, which is always great. And we'll also, I think what we'll do is kind of bring this over, and then we'll do like a diagonal kind of hallway that comes out like this. Maybe we'll bring it to like here, then we'll bring this down. I think what we can do is then bring it this way, this up, and we'll double click there. Make this like a little storage area on this side. And we can come in and maybe build out all here. Hold down control so we can snap to our grid. We can readjust the size of these after the fact. And we'll make another like doorway here, so it'll kind of come up into the area here. We will put in a big window here so you can oversee this area. And if you guys have any suggestions, or if there's something that you'd like, you think that we should add, please let me know. And again, I think we'll bring up all from this area. We'll make this into like a large opening and into this main kind of area here. And let's add in another here. And then we can make this into maybe like a living area, but maybe we'll do this. Yeah, I think this will work out fairly well. Do storage and whatnot. What we can do is we can switch over into our edit tab here. And you can see now we can actually adjust these if we want to. One's out a little bit too far. Bring it in here a little bit. Again, I'm going to bring this in slightly. We want to make sure that all of that is kind of connected well. And this is one of the great things that we can do in this new system, kind of interact with it after the fact, which is super spectacular. Awesome. This is a very basic kind of understanding of our system here and how it's easily adjustable. Cool, so now let's go in. I'm going to create another painting layer, and we're going to drop this in underneath. And we should start to name these. Call this interior walls. And this is our base layer, and then this is the floor underneath. We can call this our base. And this is our under. And so in here we can do a lot of the other kind of decorations that we want to do here. So I think we're going to do, maybe we'll do something that's a little bit more, and these kind of console elements, depending on how we want it to do, can really paint these out as well. And that's why I created these as brushes. Grab something like this, as you it's a whole bunch of different panels and whatnot. We can kind of paint this across the way here, and I think we'll change the colors of this as well. This kind of stands out a little bit too much, but we could also do like these older kind of retro elements. Maybe make that a little bit bigger. And what we can actually do is, you can see, yeah, that's going in the wrong direction. So all we have to do is just flip it like that. And we also have other elements as well. So what you want to do, I think we'll actually use this one. One will be a good one to kind of use. What we'll do is we'll flip it, and I'm just going to change the colors here of it a little bit. Maybe make it a little bit more, again, in tune with the other elements that we're kind of doing. And you can see it's the way that the system works is it adds to the colors that are already present. So we have this kind of like bluish tinge. So obviously, as we make it more and more red, I mean, we can make it quite red. If we just do it a little bit, all it's going to do is just add a little bit to there. And we're still going to get a lot of those other colors kind of coming through, which is always really cool. But we're going to lower this down here a little bit and maybe make it a little bit darker, maybe something like this. I think this will work well. And then we can accentuate it later with a lot of the lighting utilities that we're going to be using. And so we're going to kind of place this along here. And I can come in and we can adjust this. I have no idea what these ones are here. So why don't we just grab those and delete them? And let's bring this in. Let's actually move this down so it's just, we can leave it up. I'm actually going to use this line to make sure that we keep it lined up here. And what I'm going to do before I go too much further, I'm just going to open this up and I'm going to grab this hexadecimal code, Control C. That way I can, if I grab any of these other decorations here, as you can see here we have more console elements. So what I can do is jump over to the stamp tool, grab something like this, and I can place this right in like that, and that's going to match that up perfectly. So what I'm actually going to do here, maybe cover up a couple of these things, make these, you can see it's a very repeating kind of pattern, which is fine. I mean, it still kind of displays a lot of this stuff in a very adequate manner. But we can add in a whole bunch of other stuff here that's kind of change this, make it feel a little bit less like that. And so we're going to grab some of these, we'll create like some other stations in here. We're just going to stamp these in like this. And as you can see here, we can do the exact same thing. Control V to paste that. I think we'll put something like right in here. And that's just going to break up a lot of that stuff. We'll create some different, and we can create a couple of different layers as well. So we can do all kinds of cool stuff with it. We have lots of really cool kind of elements in here that we're going to be building up. We're going to create some really cool kind of sci-fi elements. And a lot of these pieces, all of these machine parts, are kind of designed to be used in creating more advanced structures with them. So they're just like the base elements. You kind of build them together. You use one, and you kind of build it on top of each other. Think of them as like parts of the full machine. So let's grab a couple of these. We can start to kind of build this stuff up in and around it as well. And I'm actually going to, as you can see here, these are just like these kind of random things that we can kind of place around and do some stuff. So like we can place something like this on the wall here. Boom. I think what we'll do though, let's change the color of this as well. Let's go back. We'll start off with this one. Same as before. You can see we can kind of maintain this feeling, this like reddish kind of environment. I'm actually going to put this like up here. We're going to do some stuff along the bottom as well. And I'm going to create a new painting layer. I'm actually going to put it underneath this one. And we can do some stuff kind of along base here. Again, I'm going to change the color of this, Control V, but I think I'm going to adjust this a little bit further. I'm going to bring down the red a little, make it a little bit darker. And I'm going to turn the aspect lock ratio off. And I want to make this a little bit narrower. And let's make this just 3, not 3.1, so that we kind of place this in here. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball this and stamp this along here as like some sort of base underneath there. And I'm going to grab some of these other elements, things that I just think are going to fit in and work well in here. We also have in some of the different art packs, we have some nice like hose brushes and stuff, so we can do like hoses going across on the floor and wires and things. Lots of really cool kind of elements you can add in and around as well. I'm just going to grab some of this kind of stuff. Again, we can do this. And another way that we could do this, right? The only reason that I'm not doing it currently is we could go in and do this on a layer level, make things a little bit easier on us, but I want to do some different kind of adjustments. I don't want to do it completely on the color level. I'm going to add in some additional kind of elements here, and it's going to really, as you can see, this is already starting to break up the monotony, but that's weird that this kind of got pushed underneath here. So I'm actually going to switch over here and grab my little sample settings so I can reduplicate that. And we'll put it back where it was. And then I can come in and delete it. There's a couple of bugs with the Z order with this. We will get those squashed here in no time. And then we have a couple of other like higher up kind of screens that we can use. And again, switch back over and Control V. We want this one instead. Like that. Cool. And you can see we've already really changed up by adding just a couple of different elements here. We've taken that kind of generic kind of background of that those controls, and we've turned it into something that's a lot more interesting to look at. And once we add in our shadows and do some different kind of adjustments there, it's really going to hide all of that multiple kind of effects that we have kind of going across, or that. And here we have some just wire coils and whatnot that we could just be placing on the ground as well. And we can grab a couple of these stools. If we want to do this like a sitting kind of area. I'm going to grab a couple of these shelves. And I think we'll do some like back across these walls. And then we can place a couple of different items on there and whatnot. Go above and below. We'll add it here. One here as well. We should actually probably change those colors too. And let's see. I think we'll change it a little bit here. Let's make it a little bit darker. A little bit of separation from the wall itself. But all in the same kind of vein here. That'll work good. And I think what we'll do is we'll do our door here, and we have a couple of like palm readers that we can put on the door, make it feel a little bit more like an environment. We can come back. I'm actually going to grab a couple of these. Going to work pretty well. We'll go to the lower. Going to go down in underneath. And then we can go and grab some of these other items. There's like a whole bunch of different stuff. We'll place a few things along our shelves here. So has everybody been having a great week? It's got some cool games coming up. Ooh, traveling can be fun. Ooh, 4 games next week? That sounds awesome. Or is your normal? Well, that's spectacular, Paulette. I don't get to play in any anymore. Rarely have the time. Rarely have the time anymore. See that? When I did that, let's see if I hit Control Z. It comes back. How interesting. What if we make a new layer? And that. What if we move it? Hmm. How very curious. I have to do an investigation there. All right, that's pretty good. Let's go in and let's grab. Oh, I didn't want to go all the way up. I do that all the time. And we'll go into our brushes. We have that we can actually use. Go into the good work as well. Go into this layer. Draw out this. Back to our stamp tool here. Rates. And we can put in some of these doors. I guess we should probably keep things consistent. Very good. Now we can come in and begin to build up some of these other areas as well. We can do some further adjustments too, adding in some kind of elements. Well, we should probably handle some of the larger areas first. Why don't we start to build in our reactor in here? Start grabbing some of these other elements. Well, I think what we'll do is we'll change color scheme here a little bit. Create this kind of separation in here. There, what we'll do. Like this. Grab some of these other elements. So you can see as we begin to build up all of this stuff out, it really begins to feel like that there is like this complex machine that's kind of there. that over a little bit. Yeah, very cool. Right now what I'm going to do is build out some other kind of elements. Maybe we'll do something here. Then we can kind of do some hoses connecting and whatnot. Maybe we'll do like these like storage rooms or something along those lines. We can even do something that's kind of along here. Make this like this big kind of industrial spot in here. I always really enjoy that. And then you can come up with whatever ideas you might have for what different elements are. I actually then do. And this will be cool to like connect with some whatnot. We'll move it. Let's here. We have some room to kind of connect things together. That'll probably be best. Here we have some nice kind of hoses. I think these are in the modern industrial. One's in the spaceship. Want to go into here. What we can do with this in the same kind of situation here. We can actually get like right from the edge of this, I think. Let's do rounded cap, I think. Then we can kind of come in and adjust this where we want it. Then we can make it smaller, go in underneath, like this. So you know what, let's Yeah, that's pretty cool. And we can actually grab a whole bunch of stuff from the Modern Industrial Art Pack as well. 'Cause there's a lot of really great things you can kind of combine with this stuff. Here we have a lot of like like scaffolding kind of things, which would actually work really well here and underneath or even over the top. And here we also have a whole bunch of, I think it's in the second one, all kinds of different machine parts as well. Yeah, I really like how these kind of interact together here, and we can use some of these things. These are all these like built stuff, and just kind of place these around. Connect. Yeah, what a very cool mix of old and new kind of technologies. This one's a little bit kind of wonky down here. Change that. Maybe what we'll do. on the top. Find something that tape there. Alrighty. And we can kind of go back and forth. We can move this stuff around too. Very cool. And we can add in any number of different kind of elements as we go. We should do like some pipes and things as well. I believe that we have lots of pipe brushes. And we can do something similar. So again, I think what we'll do is we'll create another painting layer. We'll put that right here under this stuff. Because we can do stuff like this. We get out. And we can come in and adjust these so that they line up pretty well here. Awesome. I think we're at a part now where we can kind of start to add in some of our shadows and whatnot to kind of bring this a little more separation between our floors and the items that are upon it. Is really what kind of sells the depth of it, right? So we can create an effects layer, and we'll jump over to the effects tab, change it to a adjust colors, and I'm going to drop down the opacity of it. I mean the brightness of it. Let's make it something like 45. Add a mask. Create some shadows off of some stuff. You hear this went on down below too, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'll actually just put out a little. And we can blur that out a little. We can change the, we can darken it up a bit. We want to make sure that our console too much in shadow. We can create some nice little shadows here. Have some coming off of the items. You don't have to be too exact with this stuff. I want to be a little bit loose. Oftentimes, the way that your shadows will fall sometimes is unexpected, or you'll have shadows that come from different elements. You mainly just want to get like the gist of it. You can see here, this just kind of just kind of works, right? Like pick out your major elements. Areas where you feel is going to filled up with this stuff. And you can see how much more that has enhanced this. And I'm going to do the walls as well. The basic ones. This. Just going to add a little bit extra environmental adjustments. That one might be a little bit too big, so I'm just going to hold down Shift and back that off a little bit. Down here, like that. There. Cool. So you can see how much that just adds to the entire environment. Just that small amount of shadow. And we can add in some additional elements. We're gonna, I think we're gonna create like a little bit of like energy in through here. We'll do some cool effects with it, and then we'll adjust the lighting appropriately because of that. And we can add in, once we do our actual lighting itself, we can do like a soft glow from our consoles and different elements. And I really like this kind of like change that we have going on here, right, with their colors. very consistent in certain areas, and then in here it just seems like it's a little bit more appropriate for these big machines. Then we have crates. Go into here, go back into our stamp. I think what we'll do is make them smaller, I think. These kind of sci-fi crates have over there. Maybe we'll do like machine parts in there. And again, we can switch back over to our effects layer, and we can just add in these. So what you want to do is when you go back and forth between these, you never want to hit your enable or disable mask, because that'll ruin your entire mask here. If I hit this again, it'll wipe out all of this. All you want to do is just click on the reveal or hide area, and whatever you have selected, if you hold shift, it'll do the opposite, and you can hold alt, create any shape you wish. Otherwise, it's just going to be a rectangle. Great. Let's go in and create our little living area over here. This is all pretty good. We can come back. Oh, you know what? Let's just finish this. Finish this little area over here, and then we can move on. Probably the best practice. So one of the things that I like to do, we can go into our spell templates. And I'm going to grab the lightning bolt. We have brushes too. We like. Oh, actually, let's do this one. It's a nice little like energy thing through here. Let's change its color though. Make it something like, yeah, something like that. That's kind of cool. What I'll do, we could even use something like this. Do all kinds of cool stuff. I'm gonna marry in here and create like a little like energy thing that's going on here. Oh yeah. So once you have your mask set, you don't want to hit that mask button again. One of the cool things that you can do, and this is something that's always great, especially if you're going to be putting multiple effects layers in the same on the same thing. So let's say, for example, we're going to do some cool stuff with our little energy in here, right? That back. So here we have our cool little energy beam across here. I'm going to do a couple of different effects layers, and here I'll show you a little trick. We create a new effects layer, and I'm going to do, let's say we're going to do water. Right? I'm going to make it all ripply. I'm going to create my mask, and then I'm just going to enable the mask in through here. Obviously, we want to change stuff, so our horizontal distortion, slow that down. Down our intensity a little bit. Make it go a little bit faster. this. Guess we'll drop that down. Here we have this nice kind of like rippling effect. That, okay. Now, let's say I want to add in several different ones. When I duplicate this layer, it's going to also duplicate the mask with it. And then I can just change it to something else here. So let's say I decide that I want to do like night vision in there, for example. It'll change that and it will maintain that mask. So even if I have, for example, if I come back down here and we blur this out, it would transfer over all of that. So we're going to do something like this. And we can kind of down our intensity here a little bit. Or just ways. Or down the scan lines. Yeah, that's very cool. And also the order in which we put these. So if I put this underneath the water, water will be applied on top of elements. So it's going to continually kind of affect that, as you can see. So I'd say that's kind of a cool little energy beam that we have going across there. I think what else we can do is let's go to our base floor. I'm actually going to get, these floors are pretty uniform, so we're going to add some texture to them. What I'm actually going to do is go into the winter art pack. I'm going to go into the effects. We have some of these like snow kind of ones here. And we're going to switch over to our stamp tool. Maybe grab something like this. It's got a little bit more to it. And I think what we'll do is we'll make this a little bit maybe more in here, but we're going to lower down our opacity quite a lot. And see, we're going to add in some color variation. Maybe we'll make this a little bit darker too. Like this. And we can even do, if we go on top of some, we can actually create some color variation on this stuff as well, stamping right over the top. As things get used, you know, we have like stains that are created from lots of different elements. And this again will help kind of make it feel as though it's a lived-in place, right? Like that's starting to look pretty cool there. We have all of this like walk area out around the outside and all of this like machinery stuff. I think that works really, really well. And let's make this a darker here. All the way down to black. Most. Do some here as well. Pretty good. Very cool. Let's add in, let's go back into the Sci-Fi Interiors that we have. And let's just gonna type in light, and we got some of these nice, like cool wall lights. And I'm gonna grab some of these, and we'll go to the interior wall layer. We want to make sure that we use something like this. Do a couple of these around. Yeah, very cool. I think we'll go ahead and put some everywhere. Now we don't have to have all of these working, but these just kind of add in. So I think that's pretty good. We'll put one inside of here as well. Excellent. Now we'll build in like a little living quarters in here. See what we have here. I want to make it seem kind of these medical beds. Maybe we can just use something like this. Well, I think that would be pretty, might be able to, this is a little bit too, we can always build our own. Yeah, why don't we just do that? Go back to our Sci-Fi Interiors here. And we can just use one of the tables or whatnot. We can use the morgue tray. I think we can just use it like this. And we'll go down to this painting area here. And we'll do some like beds along here. I'm going to grab these and then move them out together. And maybe we can do like some lockers along the side or something. So what we can actually do, and this is like a neat kind of trick. Anything that you want to, let's say we can take any of these items here. So let's type back in bed again. And so maybe we want to use this as like a blanket, for example. And so what I can do is I can put this into my fill, turn off our stroke. Let's make that our fill. And I'm actually going to rotate it here like this. And with this kind of selected here, I can draw out this section. You can see that it's not quite what we expect it to be, but that's okay, because what I can actually do with this, I can bring this in, and I can go into here. We can make this bigger here, so I'm just going to hold down Control and scale this. And we can grab this on here. And voila, we've created a nice little thing. We could add in additional kind of elements as well, right? Like I can come in and if we go back to our line tool here, we can go to our traction. I could extract additional elements and make that, but I think that's fine for right now. So any image that you want to extract a particular element from, you can easily do that. And we'll just grab like a pillow. These are from the Modern House Pack, Art Pack 2. Like this. And maybe I don't think that those will really quite fit. We had to put in a toilet though. Seems to have run into a problem there. Close that down. Well, it's just about break time anyway. I'll restart Fantasy Grounds and see what's going on there. I'm going to take a short break and grab some coffee, and we'll continue on this. Let's just share. All right, we'll take a short break and I'll be right back. All right, and we're back, and I restarted Fantasy Grounds and got it all squared away here. Lost a little bit of stuff here, but we can get it back really quickly, and we'll just jump right into it. It happens very rarely, but things like that do happen. So I'm just going to grab, for time's sake, we'll just grab something. One of these. These ones are, grab this and throw this in here. And we'll grab a little sink here, and then I think we'll build a little shower area tile. Maybe like in here, or actually, you know what? Let's move this here, here, this over in the corner, and we'll do it like here. Like this. And then I'll type in tile film. We got some nice tile. We also could do like tile floor. Like this will probably work pretty well. Yeah, that's pretty classic, right? Like and I'll make the line work for that a little bit smaller. And what we can do is just drag out a section here. We'll kind of drag it out like this. Then we can kind of move it to wherever we want it to be. I think we'll do, we don't want it to be too blocking on the door here. So actually move her and holding down Control to snap to the grid like this. Then I'm just going to not hold Control like that. And what we'll do is maybe we'll add in, kind of keep this open. We can do the same kind of fill element to kind of give the impression of walls here. What I'm actually going to get a new, I have to go into the next level up here. Add to it that. Square this off a little here. And we can go into our this, we'll line this up. I think we'll do it like, give like a nice separation of the floor. And line this. Cool. We can go in and we do have, I guess I'm going to have to make some of those. Shower head. I think we do have not. Let's look. Probably the one would be the modern. into our decorations here. I'll have to create something. Maybe it's modern too. Let's just have a look. Not modern industrial. All right, well, we'll just leave it for that for now. Pretty good. And then we'll go in and we'll add in additional kind of stuff. So we can go back, go into our base floor here, go stamp, have this texture stuff, and we can go in here, and we're going to add in a little bit of texture over the top of some of this stuff. Oh, we do have like towel racks, so let's no. Now I know that I made some the paper too. Let's see here. That's in the modern house. Where I put that. Now I know I made like brush and all kinds of toiletries. I'll have to double check. Either way, we have our little bathroom in here. Hmm. Rather interesting. Get a new. Let's see. It doesn't want to fill here. Not sure. Well, let's move on. Let's go back to doing that again. So we'll go bed. Actually, let's do the pillows first. Raising none of these are working. Close this down. That back up. To do it that way. Rectangle. Then we go over to the edit. That pattern in the middle there. And we can actually rotate. And then we'll So what I was saying before, what we can actually do, go into the line tool, act, act out. It's going to move this. We'll adjust it here in a second. As you can see there. And we can go into here and we can double click on this and then we can just simplify that a little bit. Oh, that's a little much. D. But what we can do is, and we can. I'll probably for like a simpler way to extract out of here, I'll probably do that. For these around. We lost our pillow. Back and grab it. Perfect. We can go back into our adjust colors effects layer here. Get a little bit of shape. Awesome. So now what we can do is kind of dive in and start to let's create some of the ambience here. I'm actually going to do a little bit of shadows on the asteroid itself. Maybe do a little bit of stuff on the outside of our environment here. So again, in this adjust layers tab, in and start to add in. A little bit too much out here. So I think what I'm going to do is all this, create a new effects layer to do this. Or we could actually do it, actually paint them in this. So I'll go into my painting tab, grab this, I'll hold down R, G, and B and use my mouse wheel, change its color, and then drop down its opacity. And shape here. And that again is going to help separate. Oh, we got a question from Svenster. How can you add a single point on a pre-drawn line? Have a straight line that you want to add a point to. Well, that's a good question. You can do it. I believe that you can do it. Let's see what the best way to do that would be. I'm going to create a new painting layer. We'll go over to our line here. Turn off our fill. Let's just make this red for. And I'll make this a bit bigger so we can kind of see. And here we've, oh, I want to make sure that I'm in the, get a new one here. Now what happens if we add to this? I'm going to if we subtract. Well, I suppose you could do it that way and have two line segments. I'm not going to bend. Okay. So I'm going to assume that there is currently no way to just add a point to it. What I usually do with like fills, for example, this off, is that I will like a, if I need to add elements to it, I'll just add section or I will subtract section. When we go in, you can see 2 points. But it doesn't seem to work the same way with a line. I'm going to assume that it's not possible. But that is something that I can kind of forward maybe coming up with a way to do that. Alrighty, so let's go in, and I think that was pretty good. We're going to start to create some of our ambience now. Put up our lighting and whatnot. So the first thing that we're going to need to do, I'm going to go on my base floor here. Got all of this elements here, and I'm going to double click on all of this exterior, and I'm going to go to duplicate selection walls. I'm just going to do that, and that's going to create us a nice little starter for our wall section there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my interior walls, and I can do the same. Hit that painted layer as walls. But here as well we can do. And boom. And we're going to have a couple of little minor things that we're going to have to take care of, but it should be a problem. And we'll line it up here. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Spencer. We'll look into that, see what we can do. And we want to overlap this. And then what I'll do is I'll just delete this points there. Add a segment here. Just this down, connect there. Gotta move it out. Just can't because they're on layers. Oh yeah, the Steam Workshop. No, I don't know as that's something that's been considered. We actually at our website have the Forge where you can do all of that stuff as well. But might be something that could come in the future. And there's all of our line of sights. Let's add in our doors as well. So I'm just door section. Doors have to be a little bit different than our walls. Our walls are going to be single ones. And then what I actually probably should do first is add in out there. Prep some of the stuff for our doors. This out. Also out there. You can actually move them out into space. We can now get our doors out here. That will prep all these little door sections. And now we can go select our door and our rectangle. And I'm just see that's not gonna trim some of these because they're on different layers. That's okay. Minor. Excellent. There's all of our line of sight done for us. Got one more door to do. Now we can switch over and we can add in our, we're going to on our okay, let's add in a couple of lights here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create, well, let's actually do it, create an ambient light. Turn this on to moonlight. Then we can kind of turn this on, and our base from which we're going to start to build up some of this other stuff. And we're going to darken this down. And here, let's see it as the players would see it. Light. To toggle off shadows. On any shadows. Oh, we might have to change. Back here. The interesting. There we go. I'm going to turn it on. And let's make it rather blue. Bring down the opacity. Now this is just going to be our very ambient kind of light source. We might even want to adjust our now. Yeah, so that's going to be, this is going to be like as dark as it will ever be in certain places. We'll have like this really kind of creepy, maybe we'll make it a little bit less. Yeah, like this, maybe a little bit more. Perfect. Then we can go into our, this will create some ambient light, our consoles here. What I'm going to do is figure out what this is going to be, and then I'm going to copy those over, place them. What I want to do is I'm going to get rid of all of my bright source, which is dim, so I'm going to put 0 in there. And we'll move our dim down to maybe something like, I'm going to increase our fall off 100. You see these nice little like soft, and some of these shadows seem a little bit too dark with our lighting, so all we have to do is go into our effects layer, readjust that. And we also want to change the color of this. We want to make it maybe blue or maybe even a little bit orange. Go with something, let's go like this. I'm just going to grab that hexadecimal code. And so here are my settings. And so I now go over here. Same thing here. 0, all off 100, 0, and 4. Now I can just kind of place a couple of these along here. And that's going to give us that really subtle kind of glow that's kind of coming off of here. We can readjust where these are to, like this. A nice little. We might even want to do the same kind of thing here where our power supply is. And see, let's go into our effects layer now. Colors. Let's. Shadows not quite. Here. More appropriate. Like that. Well, maybe a little bit more than that, right? So now we have these little like lights, and I think what we'll do is we'll actually create a little bit of light outside as well. Again, I'm going to come back in here, up one here. I'm going to make this one this. Make this like green. Yeah, maybe. That way, if players go outside and they're doing like some sort of spacewalk or something, they'll be able to have some cool stuff out there as well. And now what we're going to do is let's create a new light. Make this one. Yeah, we'll do it like a little bit orange. Try it. I'm going to do bright like 3. Again, we're going to increase off there. And we're going to make it flash. We're going to put that on some of the rooms here. Maybe we'll do it right in here. I'm just going to put one in here. Select it. And we're going to something like this. Then we can put it on one of these. We might want to make it a little bit darker. Or like an emergency light like this. Find a good speed for it. 25. I'm going to grab this, hit copy. Then we can come back in here. Now that we have this, we know that we have it set at 25. Control V. Okay. This to 25. And then what we can do is actually drop it on some of the other well. You can see what this does is as it comes on, it kind of removes the shadows from that area. adds a little bit more. That's really cool. Might want to put away here, that one. Then we have some, I think what we'll do is we'll have like some of them working and some not. There. So you can see we're really starting to create some really cool kind of environmental effects. I'm going to take this base floor and I'm going to go into my effects layer and I'm going to use this. I'm going to create an effects layer using mask as the mask, right? I'm going to create one of these. I'm going to drop this down in underneath all of the other stuff here. And we're going to even do it underneath most of these like paint layers too. And I'm going to make this a clouds, I think. Oh, it's doing that. Let's I want to do like a mist on the ground. Might even want to put it like here over stuff. And we're going to just drop it down a lot here. Let's get rid of all the shadows. Really subtle. And be down to something like 4. Yeah, that's starting to look really cool. You get these really subtle kind of movements here. It really helps differentiate between many of the different elements. Now we can go back into our just colors. Maybe we'll make this a little bit darker now. I think what I'll do is bring the clouds in. Come off of. We'll blur out this edge a little. All right, well, let's go back in. We turn off our lights and whatnot for the moment. I'm going to do a little bit more on the background. You can see now our shadows seem rather weak when we add in our all of our other elements here. The shadow actually strong. Adjust that. Just oh, perfect. Yeah, that's cool. Let's go back in. We'll turn off our lights for the moment. Our shadows are going to be like super weak. That's okay. I just want to do a little bit extra stuff on the outside. So let's create another painting layer and drop that down in underneath our asteroid. I'm actually going to go into the new fantastic space. Grab a couple of kind of cosmic elements. We're just going to make them a little bit subtle background, I think. Go lower down that opacity. Break up some of that stuff a little bit. Nice little variation. A bit of light outside. Back in here, go to our little lights area here. Yeah, that's good. All right. What other elements do you guys think that we should add to this? I guess first we should probably for our environment here a little bit. Might want to lower down our ambient light down to some. We'll make it a little bit darker. Then from our player's perspective, we might want to stuff going on here. Turn it off. Let's reset our vision here. So our ambience in here, see that this is where it's darkest. So what we want to do is we want to have this on. Get rid of that, but we have to these sides of these down a little bit. I think for our total immersion factor here. So let's go back in and we can go to our select the, because these are all going to be the same, so we can edit them all in once. Let's bring these down to maybe like 3. Also, let's that from there, kind of see it. Out a little bit. What we'll do is spread these out. Create another one. All these nice areas here. This one, same as 2R. What we'll do is we'll do 2. What we'll do, 3. Only comes out a little bit there, yeah. Always about experimentation with. You can see that this allows get a little bit of a weird kind of interaction there. So let's go over to, yep, doesn't quite match up. That. And we can open this door up. And see this very soft ambient light allows for kind of little bit of vision throughout everything. You might want to just off. Could be. Start over here at our elements. Off. Areas where anything, and then when it comes out, see where it is flashing. little areas here, but what we can light as well. That might be a little bit better. Or we could experiment. Let's darken this. Cool. All right, guys, do you have any questions, or is there anything else you think we should add to this currently working on? Oh, great, thanks. What I'm actually going to do is layer, drop this down so when we're oh yes, definitely we're going to do a lot more with the asteroid. I think what we'll do is we're going to wind down the stream here in the next few minutes, and then what we can do is jump into next time we're going to do another floor underneath, and then add in. I want to do like this whole section of the asteroid. Maybe we'll do like some tunnels into the asteroid itself. We'll have like this mining floor beneath. That would be really like that real quick. Yeah, maybe we could do like some. What do you think happened in this? We're gonna make it kind of like a horror-esque environment. What do you think is the story behind this? Any ideas? Think we should add like some more organic elements to it, like in Aliens? Maybe like some eggs or something around. I'm in here and like some sort of organic stuff out and around. Or do you think it's more like what do you guys think? Help help me create a story for this. Ooh, a disease. Do you think we should do like skeletons around? Do you think it's been a long time since anyone's been here? Sure, we could do damage parts. Like a reactor leak or something. Cthulhu in space. Some sort of eldritch horror. We could do like tentacles up around. Yeah. Well, we'll do something like that. We can do all of it. Yeah, we could definitely do that. Maybe we could do all of the above. Could place like some skeletons stuff around, and we could do like cobwebs. I like the idea of adding some organic elements as well. But we can do, yeah, I think that that's what we'll do. We'll kind of combine all of the different ideas. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to call it here for today. Up next time, and we'll finish it up. Should be super fun. So thanks everyone for hanging out with me this week. Really appreciate it. And I'm here every Saturday. We start at about 3 p.m. Eastern time, and we run till about 5:30 or 6, depending on what we're doing and what we can get done within that time. If you guys have any questions or if there's anything that I can help you with, please let me know. More than happy to go down any sort of rabbit hole that you might have or answer anything that I possibly can. Yeah, you too, Landrest. And I hope you guys have a great week. We'll be here this next Saturday, as I said, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you swing back by 9 p.m. tonight, Eastern Time as well for Fabled Dice. Super fun. Yeah, thanks everyone so much, and we'll see you all next time. Later, everybody.